than the first. But at the end of it, there's a lot of the C.S. Lewis type messages in there as well. But so that's the bad guy of the second book. So any other questions?
How much planning do you have to do before you start writing? Does it take years? Have you got a big matrix chart?
Oh, no. Well, when I work for TSR, they get 20 people in a room with the one writer. Dave, do this, do this, do this. This is how you should go with it. Yeah, there is this planning process. And then they say, well, we want to advertise it this way, we want our artists to draw it this way. A real writer, to me, doesn't work for corporations. A real writer sitting in his closet with a pencil and paper, or in this day and age, a laptop, and he's just free-flowing, writing just what comes from his heart. There's no planning or anything. You have your few basic characters. You want to jot down your characters, maybe write down their names. You might change the names later. I know for Mary Archer, in the first book, I wrote English girl, Mary, typical Western name, Archer, sounds pretty English. Where does she come from? Well, I put a little bit of myself in there because my family came from Lancashire, England. I don't know if you're familiar with that area. It's up north near Manchester. Yeah. So I put a lot of, my family history in there, this is where she's from and her accent and things like that. And you write a little bio of each character. Because what will happen is when you're writing, it's flowing, but sometimes you'll forget some details about the character that you'll want to put in there. So you want to keep little bios of just of the characters, but the rest is pretty much free-flowing. There are times you get mental block. You're writing, okay, the sword goes up, sword goes up, they're fighting each other, and he kicks him over. Okay, well, what now? And your mind literally goes blank. You just can't think of anything else. And I'll tell you a story. With this book, with chapter 7, my mind went completely blank. I couldn't think of anything to write. I said, I'm doomed. So I said, I'm going to go to Canada. So I packed my bags, went to Victoria, Canada. Maybe that'll give me something to think about. Maybe it'll come to me, some kind of influence. Victoria, Canada gave me nothing. I said, okay. So I wrote a little bit more, and I finally got my groove back. And then a couple chapters later, wow, what am I doing? What am I writing? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm complete mental block. What did I do? Well, I said, I got to go to England. I'm going to see my relatives. Maybe that'll help me bring myself back to writing again. And I went to England and drove about 900 miles through England. Decided I'm going to go to Cardiff, Wales. Well, I didn't realize at the time I was writing the book, but I'm driving through Cardiff and there's red dragons everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. I'm like, my dragon's red. And started seeing all these red dragons everywhere, and that brought me back to my writing. Just the littlest thing, if you have a mental block, will bring you back. If you are writing and you do have writer's block, okay, I know a lot of people who will go out and buy books on how to stop writer's block. Okay, well, those are just writers making money off writers who have mental block, writer's block. There's really no cure. The cure is to stop writing. Don't think about it for a while. Maybe go somewhere to clear your head. Think about the characters. Think of their feelings. I know that sounds weird to think about their feelings when they don't even exist. They only exist in your mind. But sometimes to a writer, when you're heavily in a story, sometimes when you're writing, you phase the world out. And sometimes, for an instant, that fantasy world that's in your head does become reality. And you do feel for those characters. I had a character in the book I'm writing about, some tragic happening to the character, and I'm listening to Braveheart music, and I'm sitting there typing, and I have tears rolling down my eyes. Why? Because I care for this character. I created this character. Every character you create, it's almost like your child, okay? And I'm sitting there, and I had to stop. I stopped writing as tears come down my eyes. I said, I'm killing my own child. I said, for the sake of the story, I gotta continue. You know, so yeah, you could be writing, and even though it's just you writing, for some instances, you do enter that world. And sometimes it does become a reality. So, which is the fun part about writing, you know. I will say this, for fantasy writers, I think we have the most imagination out of any writers. I mean, I think the most boring writers are probably mystery writers. Agatha Christie, I'm a very boring person, you know. J.R.R. Tolkien, very amazing person to me. There's just more imagination put into it. Writing fantasy, you have to, you know, have names for certain swords and certain shields and things like that. Even Hollywood movies, when they're you know, writing for a fantasy movie, you can call a shield anything, like Shield of Enlightenment. So, you know, they just make up names out of the blue to, you know, for some of these weapons. But to be a fantasy writer, you constantly have to be thinking in fantasy and in realms of that don't even exist. And Tolkien created an entire genre, really. Fantasy, to me, really wasn't fantasy till Tolkien. I mean, he created orcs, elves, I mean, a whole universe, you know. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here doing this, you know. So he was a big influence. And so fantasy writers, they could be just walking down the street. You won't know this because you're not in their head. And they'll walk and you'll see a beautiful girl and like, oh, that's interesting. He'll pull out his book. Okay, well, get her description. Next thing you know, he's turning her into a character in one of his books. And that's what I do. I'll take real people I see on the street. You know, I'll be at a pub in England. I'll see some old guy walking with a cane. Oh, he'd make an interesting character. And I write down the descriptions. And a lot of writers do that. So if you see some guy in the corner just writing stuff and looking at you, you know, you might be fodder for him for a new character, you know. And the good thing about it is you'll never know it, and you'll never be able to sue him because he will never use your real name, you know. So, any more questions?
It seems you said nothing about your education.
Oh, well, I went to University of St. Xavier, and that's in Ohio, and I graduated from high school after that, Del Mar High School in San Jose. And in between those, I went to San Jose, a junior college. I don't know what the system of colleges are here in Russia, but you have high school, and then you have a junior college, and then you have universities. Well, my family wasn't rich. You know, I had a brother, older brother. My dad raised us, single father. He was always working. I was a latchkey kid. I got a lot of my imagination from that. Latchkey kid, what that means is your kid who went to school, you walked to school by yourself. You carried your house keys in your back pocket, even at age 6. You walk home by yourself, sometimes a couple of miles, and you have your keys to let yourself in the house, and you cook yourself dinner, and you make sure you do homework on yourself, and basically you're self-sufficient at age 6. That's what a latchkey kid is. I know in Russia, from what I understand, reading about Russia, they're very protective of their kids. They won't let their 6-year-old kid walk a couple of miles down the streets of Moscow by themselves. In California, they do that. I gotta go to work. Here's the keys. Just make it home safe. Okay, I don't want, and that's what we do in California. So I was a latchkey kid my whole life.
Even now, it's the same.
It's the same now. It's the same now. Mm-hmm.
It's illegal. You cannot leave your kids at home before they are 12.
I know. Well, in California, there's no state law of how old a kid has to be to leave them at home. Okay? Now, they could be 6 years old. Okay? A single mother, for example, can have a couple of kids, 8 or 9 years old. It's a Friday night. Oh, well, you know, my friends want to go out. Yeah, okay, fine, I'll meet you at the bar. She'll go out, leave her kids at home for 3 or 4 hours. Put the TV, and that's what, yeah, they do that in the United States. Yeah, and when they're 18, and I think in Russia, from what I understand, I'm reading this Russian etiquette book, so I'm learning all I can. So it's fascinating. But I hear that a lot of people still live with their parents in their early 30s. and most people live with their parents until then in Russia, from what I understand from this book. Well, in the United States, as soon as you're 18 years old, kicking your ass out the door. Like, you're 18, you're an adult, bye! That's it. That's it. For me, I was a latchkey kid. So I was 13 years old. Age 13, I was working at a convenience store after school. I've been working since I was 13 years old. And in America, they teach you independence as early as possible. And then when you're 18, you should be sufficient enough to have your own house, have your own car, have your own job, and work and go to college at the same time. That's it. And for someone like me who wasn't born in, with a rich family, single father eventually, latchkey kid, you have to go to junior college. You have to get good grades at junior college to be accepted, to a university. For me, I was very good at sports. I played American football. In high school, I averaged 2 touchdowns a game. Okay. People were coming up to me. Scouts were coming up to me from the NFL. And I don't know if you know what the NFL is. It's National Football League. It's professional American football. And coming to me as a junior, second year of high school, saying, "Dave, keep going, man. You can make the NFL." And yeah, I was doing pretty good until my senior year. And senior year in America is girls, alcohol. In the 80s, it was cocaine. It was parties Friday, Saturday night. And I mean, I was no angel. The year of 1987, everyone has that one year they remember in America of that one party year. For the singer Bryan Adams, it was the year of 1969. He wrote a song about it. In that year, to be perfectly honest with you, there was not a day I was sober. Yeah. It was all parties, especially in California. It's a party state. It's a party. Divorces are very high. Relationships. If you're in a relationship for a year, that's pretty darn good. Okay? It's a dating society. Okay? I had friends in high school who were dating 6 girls at one time. Some of them knew each other. And some of them were best friends. But it's a dating society. And believe it or not, it's only California and New York who are like that. So it's not hard to speak to a Californian or speak to a New Yorker who's like 30 years old, okay? And you ask them, well, how many girls have you dated? Oh, wow, a couple of hundred? Well, how many girls were you serious with? 10? I don't remember, I lose count, but that's what the societies are. For me, I was into writing. I was into football. I went to parties, but I was the guy who helped the high school prom queen off the gutter because she had too much to drink and took her home. I don't want to say I was the nice guy, but yeah, I was the nice guy. And I learned at a very young age that women have feelings, they have emotions, and number one, that they're also human. They're human beings. In the States, most men, especially in high school, don't look at women as human beings. They look at them as things to have fun with. It's a dating society, believe it or not. So yeah, I learned at an early age that they're human beings. And I've been dumped enough girls to know, yeah, I have feelings too, and yeah, I can understand that their feelings are a lot worse than mine, so I try not to hurt their feelings as well. So, I'm sorry, I'm rambling on too much. Any other questions, though?
I mean, what was the subject of your study in a college or university?
Oh.
What was your
Yeah,
major?
you won't believe this one. Ecology.
Ecology.
Ecology. Yeah, being from California, ecology #1. Moscow, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I drove into Moscow and I was like, oh my God, it's It's an S-hole, okay?
But you do not work as an ecologist.
No, I don't. I don't.
Why?
Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Yosemite. I don't know. Have any of you heard of Yosemite? It's probably one of the most spectacular preserved forest areas in the world, and it's magnificent. Giant redwood trees in California. It's just amazing. I'm sorry when I'm talking if I talk in detail about redwoods and things, but that's how writers talk. They talk in very detail about certain things, and I can look at a leaf and talk a half an hour about, you know, the leaf and the colors in details, and that's just how we think. But no, I went up there for a ride during college. We call it a ride along. So I rode along with one of the rangers for a weekend, one of the forest rangers, and I go, wow, yeah, I love the forest. This is great. I would love to be a forest ranger. This is what I'm going to school for. How much do you get paid? $10 an hour. I was like, are you kidding me? That's $3 more than McDonald's. No way. Because if you're not making at least $100,000 a year in California, or you know, at least, you know, LA, San Francisco, the big cities, you're not making it. Where I came from in Silicon Valley, San Jose, California, if you're not making $80,000 to $100,000 a year, you're not making it. Okay? Forest rangers, $10 an hour. I'm not living in a one-bedroom apartment. I'm sorry. Okay? I have a 4-bedroom house. You know, at the time, swimming pool, you know, and everything else. I like my swimming pool. I like my office in my house. I like my big kitchen with the sunroom. I like all that. I'm not going to become a forest ranger in one bedroom. So it was how much they got paid that really turned me off to it. You know. So go ahead.
I have a question, but now my question is, when you come back again here, because it's so much to tell, and we enjoy listening to you. So please come again. When you come again?
Well, I think I'll be coming back
next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, and actually it's perfect that you said that because we're pretty much out of time right now.
I'm
but
sorry.
but-
I talk too much.
no, it's actually been perfect. It's been great to have you here. And Sunday, next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next
Yeah.
Sunday, which would be the
Well, yeah, I'll say
The
one more
14th.
thing. Look for my book if you're interested. If you're a writer, look for me on Facebook. As you can tell, I'm a very open guy, and I can talk to you about anything. I'm on Facebook. Just type in my name, add me, and if you ever want to have a discussion on writing, or if you want to be something to get involved in publishing, just send me a message. I respond on the spot. You know, I won't leave you hanging there for a couple of weeks. I will actually talk to you right then and there, because I feel it's good to communicate with people, always. So, Marina, I think you have my business cards in my wallet, my black wallet.
Downstairs.
No, Marina. What's that? Did you
Downstairs.
bring it? It's downstairs? Oh, well, okay, I brought a lot of business cards. I didn't put them on me. They were in my wallet. Yeah, just you have pins, Davidson L. Haworth. And type in my name, add me on Facebook. I have a fan page. I'm all over the internet, the publishers and what have you. But yeah, any questions you have, I'm there
We
for
have
you.
many questions, but later, next time, we will be
Okay.
here to
Yes.
listen to you.
Yes.
right.
What's
Yeah,
the
next
favorite
Sunday.
occupation of your kids?
What's that?
What's the favorite occupation of your kids?
Favorite occupation of my kids, for my kids?
Entertainment.
Oh, what do they like as entertainment? Video games. Yeah, they like video games. But hey, I just want to say, it's been great. All you guys are fantastic. Thank you for listening to me ramble. But you guys are great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope